Hello, random stranger. It's been a short while. I'm happy you're here. I'm also slightly concerned for some of you because I see people watching these reactions at crazy times, time zone wise, which is awesome, but also please be taken care of yourselves. So, today we're continuing on with walking the plank of the pointy end of Kaon. It was great seeing what everyone had to say about the last two episodes, particularly that killer scene, or rather, killer episode of the final live school festival performance in episode 20. And I think there is one more live performance that we get, fingers crossed. But that was probably the last fully extended concert that we're going to be seeing. Before the recap, though, just a quick PSA. YouTube has been acting up recently and been disappearing a lot of my replies to your comments. So if you get that red notification bell, but you don't actually see any reply from me, don't worry. It's not that I'm ghosting you. It's just YouTube is a fickle god, and apparently I haven't been making enough human sacrifices to appease its temper. However, it does seem to be fixed recently. Like, I've been posting replies in the last day or two and they're still there. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know. All right, so I'd like to start this recap by sharing some pretty cool cultural insights, and one of them was very kindly pointed out by Maji Dakara. So I have a screenshot for this. Give me 1 second. Yeah, there we go. So the kimono that Azusa and Jun wear at the start of episode 19 is called a kosode, which is a type of kimono worn for everyday or work wear. And the sleeves are tied up and they wear an apron so they don't get in the way of their work. Thank you so much for answering my question. It's always interesting learning about the different kinds of kimono and what they're used for. I know I don't know how many exactly there are, but I know there's a lot. I also thought that they looked so cute in those kosodes, and I especially enjoyed the "what are you looking at" glance that Azusa shoots at the store dude when they first walk in. Maji Dakara also mentioned that they're sad that Kaon is ending. Yeah, man, me too, and everyone else watching this. But we're going to enjoy every second that we have left. I have no doubt about that. The other cultural thing that I learned was when the girls, to help Mio with her pre-play nerves, draws the character for person all over her hand and her arm. So that comes from the saying hito nomu, which literally means to drink or swallow people, or metaphorically to triumph over others. So when you write hito 3 times on your palm and you like swallow them, you're telling yourself to calm down, that you've got this, that you're going to swallow the audience before the audience swallows you, kind of thing. Exactly what we see Mio do before the play. So that was a cool little fact. Now, to the actual Romeo and Juliet play, I've raved about it, obviously, but I do want to note also that I love how it's Azusa who underscores just how perfect Mio and Ritsu are in their roles, playing the quintessential romantic couple of all time. And wait. I think I had a screenshot for this one too. Yeah, here. Yeah, so that's Azusa being starstruck. And she says, "Oh, wow, it's like they're the actual real Romeo and Juliet." And I love that because, I increasingly see Azusa as the love child of Mitsu. Being a slither claw, she takes after Mio's Ravenclaw with her brains and her talent, and even looks physically like Mio. Then she gets her Slytherin edgy and blunt teasing powers, and also leadership qualities from Ritsu. And two, that line just served as some juicy meta commentary on the fandom shipping that happens with Mitsu. Another fun fact from Forecast G related to the play, Mio and Ritsu's VAs were in another show together at the same time. They were doing K-on's season 2. Mio, or Yoko Hikasa, is voicing the confident, commanding school president, while Ritsu, or Satomi Sato, is voicing a ditzy rich girl. Mio is almost always using that Romeo voice, and the same for Ritsu's Juliet voice. I found that fascinating. Well, just that short Shakespeare scene gave me actual chills watching it because of the vast difference in the timbre of their voices relative to what they normally sound like. Plus, of course, the fully charged emotion that you can actually hear. And I remember learning early on about how competitive the Japanese VA scene is, and the range that these voice actors have or have to have never ceases to amaze me. Some other really tiny, seemingly tiny details, but details that I really appreciated the second time round, include how kind Mugi was to pretend to have that other girl help carry the Rosetta Stone back to the stage. Is it this one? Yeah, there you go. We all know she's packin, right? And she could have totally done it on her own, but for the sake of including the other girls and allowing us to get more screen time with them, Mugi played her part. There's also related to the so-called extras or background characters. Zolova Id very astutely pointed out that it's strange that the Occult Club only seems to have 2 members when the minimum number for a club is 4 people. That's very true. Wait, let's pull up the Occult Club. Yeah, they are. I love these girls. I thought it was strange too, but my theory is there's probably some rule for the Occult Club specifically that says at least 2 members must exist on a plane beyond our own world. Because would the Occult Club really be the Occult Club without a couple of phantom spirits and invisible alien entities? And so they could easily have 50 members for all we know. Next is probably the most difficult part of this recap, because we're going to try and answer the question of what made episode 20 so good. And there was heaps of great stuff in the comments talking about different aspects of episode 20. The short answer is that it was this giant stew of perfect ingredients, from the emotional payoffs to the many show references and callbacks, including things like Noriko being the president of the Mio fan club and Soccer Bear Senpai is mentioned. There's also the amazing sound design, the 2 new songs, the coherence of the entire cast, including the classmates, the camera angles, the visual symbolism, everything comes together in episode 20. And I think it will take me multiple rewatches really to over time to truly appreciate how great this episode was. So to start digging into this, Ragashingo wrote that for a lot of reasons, episode 20 felt both bigger than normal, but also more real than normal. It wasn't exactly a look back, but it had that energy of being a finale. Part of it was the extended time we got with HTT on stage, yeah, which I very much appreciated. It wasn't the usual cutting away from the last chords of Fuwa Time, but it was a true performance with a start and then a finish. And then Ragashingo goes on, from the introductions to a pair of songs to a lot more crowd interacting than usual, this episode just had more to it than normal. Animation was kicked up a notch for the performances too, some good subtle camera moves and great character motion, especially those side shots of Yui and Mio singing into their microphones. All in all, the HTT performance felt a good deal more substantial than it ever has, and I loved it. Yeah, the side shots of Mio and Yui reminded me so badly of their first live as the fronting duo of the band. Something else about their song performances. During You and I really appreciated the visible sweat on each of their faces, which is such a weird thing to like, I know, but I thought it was emblematic of how much of themselves they were pouring into this performance. And later on, I love the full circle that happens when the girls try to pass off their tears as sweat. Here's another comment from Dubs Checkham. I don't think episode 20 was their last official performance. I really hope it wasn't. But it's definitely the first time in a while that they realized how little time together they had left. Since we've been following the club for about 30 plus episodes at this point, it's probably also the first time we realized how few episodes we had left with the club. Yeah, it's still unbelievable to me that we've passed the 30 episode mark. That paradoxical feeling of it being such a long time that's passed, but it's passed in the blink of an eye, is something I'll really treasure about K-On! Yeah, because not many shows do that to me. I think a huge part of what contributed to this realization that, oh crap, we don't have that much time left, was when the girls each got to speak on stage and then spent quite a bit of time thanking each other, thanking their supporters, and thanking the audience. It's something that happens like usually at the end of a play or some massive concert, before the red curtain falls. It's also something that the OP alludes to in the last few lines, all of the arigatos and daisukis. And so the live concert took that to the next level by showing this outpouring of love and appreciation for everyone. You know, even Norika gets a spotlight shone on her and she's super embarrassed, which is really cute. Sawako is introduced as part of the band, Ton-chan and the music room gets a mention. And of course, the background characters, the other girls in their class get their little moments too. And actually, on that, Tom Leete made a great point about how far the relationship of the other classmates with the HTT club has come. So they wrote, remember back to season 1 when the 4 girls were first years trying to recruit new members in funny animal costumes? Yes, I do remember. Everyone kept their distance because they looked like freaks, which is, fair enough. My favorite part of OP3, or the third OP, is the moment when Yui does her spin around dance move for the 3rd time, and the crowd does it with her. They are loved. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. So wait, I had to take a screenshot of it. Here, yeah, this moment. Oh, by the way, that's the girl who carried the Rosetta Stone with Mugi. Man, it's funny to think of that long arc character development that's being given to even these background characters. I think the way that the last few episodes, particularly from episode 17, was structured, it really worked to endear us to the rest of the classmates and made it feel realistic that the HTT girls are very much connected to them. If you've ever been part of a major musical production or a play or a big school festival, you would have experienced how these major events are great for bonding, and so it's believable when it comes to the girls' final live school festival performance that everyone would be so supportive and singing along and wearing their HTT shirts. Let's keep going. So, from Video Runaway, episode 20 is the big one. Just such a perfect episode, but it is rough on the emotions. I love how alive the rest of the school feels by this point of the series. You could probably count each background student's total screen time in seconds, yet they don't feel like background characters. Yeah, before when I said background characters, it kind of felt wrong to say that. Yeah, classmates is a better term, I think. And I keep going. I just think it's such solid world building where these characters who have no plot relevance feel like they could be their own characters in their own series. Like Ichigo, who seems to be the fan favorite of the background classmates. She is also my favorite too. One little detail in this episode that I love is when Ritsu walks up to Mia's mic to say a line from the play, and there's a shot of her standing up on her toes because she's shorter than Mia. It's such a minor detail that most people wouldn't even be thinking about at that moment, but it just goes to show how much KyoAni cares about attention to detail even this late into the series. Hang on, I definitely have that screenshot because it was really cute. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, well, the tippy toes is especially cute in the context of the Mitsu relationship. And yeah, we're going to get into some other incredible details I'd missed the first time watching it through and that others have pointed out. Something David Garcia had mentioned was the amazing sound design during the performance. So, for both songs, we really get the sense that the band is playing live in a big space and we can hear the sound bouncing off the back wall and coming back to us. They definitely nailed the big live sound of the band. Yeah, I was also super impressed with the faint buzzing of the amps and the recreation of the instruments and the mics being dropped or hit. And it was just another example in a long line of examples where KyoAni really goes that extra mile. I guess one last thing about the live performance before we tackle that emotional scene is that they also managed to inject lots of humor into it. One of my favorite moments was when, just before launching into UNI, Yui is on a roll, thanking everyone, and the hype is building and building, and then everyone's cheering, and Yui's punchline is, Hokako tea time or after school tea time will always be after school. And then it's meant to be inspiring, but there's just dead silence and it flies over everyone's heads. My opinion is, though, and has always been, that Yui is a genius, and what she really was saying is that HTT will never die, that there will be future generations of passionate girls who carry on that legacy after school in the same room forever and ever. That's what I think she was saying, and I would have been the first to have given her a standing ovation for that line. So we have finally come to what Sergio Ortiz described in the comments as the scene of 1,000 tears. No matter how many times you see it, it still gets you. I've only seen it 3 times at this point, and yeah, every time it's hard to fight the rising emotion that gets stuck in your throat. And the part where I started feeling quite emotional and then it just didn't stop from there was when they're piling in excitedly on what they're going to do next, until Yui mentions how they're going to be so awesome at the next school festival performance, which they're not going to be there for because they would have all graduated. Yeah, Ritsu also has this killer of a line where she says, after that, there's nothing. And the beginning of the end hits them and us watching them like a ton of bricks. And I talked before about how fascinating it was that it was Azusa who was the one who held the group together emotionally and, you know, was dabbing away Mugi's tears and being the strong one. And Anon21486 had a great take on this. They wrote, what makes the last scene more impactful is that unlike us, the audience, and Azusa, we have already begun preparing for the end of the show episodes ago. Yui, Ritsu, Mio, and Mugi, however, have not, and quickly come to the realization that the end is coming. That was fantastic because it reminded me of the beginning of the season when the girls are planning what they're going to do for the year, and they kind of dismiss Sawako sensei telling them that time goes by really, really fast. Obviously, the older girls have been preoccupied with exams and then the play, while Azusa, because she's been left alone a few times this season and has had to face up to the reality that everyone except her will be graduating, she has been in that headspace of preparing for the end. And so here we are at the end of episode 20 when her senpais finally catch on and not knowing whether to laugh because it all happened or cry because it's not ever going to happen again. So they do this incredibly conflicted, heartbreaking, half crying, half laughing. The Sledge also made some really good observations. They wrote that that last scene also is even more impactful when you observe Mugi. Her cry seems so genuine and heartfelt, as her separation anxiety was seeded over the last few episodes, in particular with her interactions with other characters. Yes, I died a little inside when Mugi started crying. She appears to be the one who was the most emotional about their performance being the last, besides Mio sobbing. We rarely see her crying like that in previous episodes and account for her investment in the club, which materially would have involved providing the countless cups of tea, cakes, and sweets, access to holiday homes, those tiny holiday homes, sacrificing her overseas holidays, pull strings to get Gita at a huge discount, which are immaterial to the rock-solid friendship bond with girls whom she may never have met if she didn't stumble into the music room looking for the choir club back in the first episode. Ugh. Oh man, there's also something else that the Sledge said that really hit me. It needs to be said also that the impact of this scene is also one of the most emotional that doesn't involve death or dying, which is a trope of anime tearjerker moments. The truth of that is amazing. Like, and not to take anything away from stories that do build emotional payoffs off the death of a character, but to be able to build up a similar, if not more, hard hitting emotional payoff simply by relying on the closeness of the relationships between both the on screen characters and the relationship of those characters to us, the viewers, it blows my mind, actually. And not only that, K-On gave us a real cathartic moment. So it wasn't just the emotion of grief and sadness, it was also intermingled with so many confusing, conflicted emotions of pride and happiness and memory and just a celebration of life. So that added another layer of greatness to the scene. Yeah, so thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so as if this recap wasn't enough of a fangirl moment, Canal 19 mentioned something awesome too. So when they were talking about their performance, it also felt like they're talking about the show itself. The girls were saying things like, the show was a hit, right? I don't even remember if we played well. We were good, right? We were really good, right? Yeah, I got this feeling all throughout the live performance too, when they were thanking everyone, and in show they're talking and thanking their classmates, but it also is clear that the episode was written with the end in mind and with the intention of thanking the show's fans who have stuck by them and obviously who responded so passionately to the show back then, and clearly who have maintained their passion for so many years and continue to inspire new fans to join. On a sweeter and well, also a sadder note, it also reads like the writers and the animators and everyone involved in making K-On possible, it was their moment to look back on this incredible monster of a show that they've created through their own characters. And it makes me sad that there are some who worked on K-On who won't get to see how the show continues to impact people like 20, 30, 50 years down the line, which I'm sure it will. But we have what we have, and we're grateful for that. Just to tug on those heartstrings a tad more, Oliver JaJaDo had an amazing post pointing out all these details I probably never would have picked up on, including in the end we see the shot of the bags on the sofa again, and this time the girls are sitting on the ground beneath the window, also crying together and in the end sleeping shoulder to shoulder, almost resembling the bags. I was like, oh my god, that's right. Okay, wait, I definitely have a screenshot of this. Okay, yeah, so this is the one where you actually see both the bags and the girls who look like the bags, which I thought was amazing. And then there's more. if that scene wasn't melancholic enough, immediately in the next short scene, so the scene after we see them crying, we see the sunset and exactly 5 birds flying up from in front of the school away into the sky. So that would be this one. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the symbolism of the birds and the sky and how it links to freedom and how birds all flock together and all that, but I don't really need to. Like, it kind of says it all visually, doesn't it? So that is why episode 20 was so special. And thank you guys so much for coming through with your excellent analyses as always. But so as not to leave this recap on such an emotional note, there's 2 more things. One is I noticed that when the girls are making friends with the Occult Club, that there is another symbolism or symbol of how these girls, these 5 girls, will be together forever. And that's this shot here. So here are the 5 girls talking over on the right side, and then here you have 5 cows. So one of them is dangling from the spaceship, so I believe that's meant to be Yui, obviously symbolizing her descent to Earth from a distant galaxy. And yeah, I just found it hilarious that they could have used any number of cows, but there's the 5 of them. So yeah, Oliver JaJaDo, I hope you're proud that I picked up on that. Last thing, something awesome that Youngblood sent in is a series of DVD covers for the K-On! Series, which I will link to below, but I wanted to share a few of my favorites. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So yeah, here's the classic playing around with the camera depth. Mugi clearly enjoying her predicament. I love that Ritsu has the hi-hat above her head, you know, a hi-hat. Yeah, so that was great. This one looks like a scene that was cut from the OP, you know, them doing their magic tricks. With the exception of Yui, who is clearly actually making that orange defy gravity using her special alien powers. And this one, I mean, Mugi's come hither look is ridiculously powerful. And then the 2 degenerates in the back. And also, I love that Ritsu is so solid in her relationship with Mio that she would allow this. But again, it is Mugi who just wants love from all of them. So I do feel bad for Mio, but also kind of envious too, because who wouldn't want to be stuck in this situation? There's also ones with Azusa in them as well. Yeah, I mean, this one, I mean, it's genius. Like, I looked at it and I thought that maybe this is how Azusa sees herself sometimes when she has to deal with the insanity of all 4 of her senpais. But she's happy in and amongst the crazy, unless that look on Azusa's face is like she's trying to blink and send Morse code message for someone to rescue her. I don't know what to say about the baby. This is clearly a family portrait that's meant to be put in a display cabinet for future generations to worship and also be terrified of. There's more. I really recommend you guys looking through them, but the last one I'm going to show here. Yeah, this one, I love this one so much. The range of emotions here is so in keeping with how the characters are. Also, Azusa is so embarrassed back there, which is adorable. I don't know if it's because Ritsu's senpai is giving her a piggyback or the fact that she's so embarrassed she is actually enjoying this race down the hallway. I love that you could write entire episodes off of those images alone, which, is the power of Kaon for you. All right, guys. So now is the time that we get to the actual episodes. All right, guys, we are good to go for episode 21, graduation yearbook. Okay, if you guys are good, let's do this in 3, 2, 1, play. We're gonna get a last minute Yui makeover. No, her hair clips. Oh, it looks so wrong without them. I feel like the hair has its own character too. It must have been so hard to animate all that hair movement. It's amazing how much time we're being Yui's mirror. It's the clips. Okay, so what is this episode all going to be built around the crisis of getting the right look for the yearbook? They're all so cute. And I love that transition to Mio while the baseline is getting the focus. Also that when they do this and the different colors match their own colors, their own characters' colors. Just for those 1.5 seconds. I'm gonna look out for this spin that they do with Yui. How could you drop that strawberry, Yui? And there we go. That's awesome. I wonder how many people have that T sign tattooed on their body. Oh, the pass stuck on Azusa's guitar. It's calling back to that episode. Oh, Azusa with her hair down. Oh no, this is really messing with my head. Why is she so spaced out? Is that Mugi? Oh no. Something new that doesn't make her look like Yui. Oh, this is so weird. Imagine if Azusa actually secretly wants that just to hang on to Yui for one more year. No, that would be weird. Yui is her own person. That's definitely ooey, right? It's not just Yui having a laugh. Everyone's not their usual selves. Oh, well, that's convenient. A live model that looks exactly like you. Paperclip. I love how she just arrives with the brush and the hair tie just right there. Also, I love that Nautica handed that binder clip to Yui just like it was a normal thing to do. Nautica is a world class troll, I think. I suspect. Forehead. Oh no, she's gonna encroach on Ritsu's space. Oh, it just confirms my Nautica as troll theory. Yes, please put the world back to rights. My other ship. It's very quiet. Wait, they've already stepped down? No. Oh, Azusa. Don't do that to me, K-On writers. Ritsu. Oh, that's such a great sandwich. It's been a while since we've seen the Dumb and Dumber one route. Oh, Mugi with the cake in the back. I love that it doesn't matter that. So all of the other seniors stepped down, but because they're still doing life together and they're just going to happen to use the music club room for that. No. Oh, that's right. Back to that whole arc. Yui did put down musician though. Where's Mio going? Oh, what's Mio think? Is she being like, oh, if they're all gonna go to Mugi's university, I'm gonna be the one left out? Upside down. Oh. I love that that's the thing that she's worried about for her life goals, her hairstyle. Let the adult baby speak. Eh? So Ritsu's greatest fear is the word split up and break up. Interesting. Oh, that would be weird. It's very mature hairstyle. The pursuit of perfection. That's a long, hard road. It's so weird. Episode 14. More forward, please. Oh. Okay. That was an interesting moment. Oh, she hates looking at the camera. These two, man. I feel like if you tell Mio to be more relaxed, it makes it harder for her. Is that the sunfish face? That was a serious face, but it only made her look more ditzy. Why does she look so sad? Oh, Azusa. Hmm. It's weirding everyone out. This is bad. It's better for it to be a little long than too short. Someone's gonna bump her hand, aren't they? Okay, she's doing it the right way. breathing sound in our ears. It made it so stressful. Oh my god, this. She looks like Kimari from Sorayori. The sweat. I love how squishy their faces have become. Oh, Ritsu, so heroic. Come on, Mugi can fix this. I mean, move on. Those look amazing. Oh, are they making up for the hair? Azusa. Azusa's like, fine. I really want to. So cute. God damn it. It does look cute. It's so nice that Ritsu actually remembers and is concerned about, Mio's school stuff. More concerned than she is for her own future. Yui the Oba-chan. Mugi exerting her power that she gained from being a director. It's so funny that they're going into this like a war. Just making it worse. And of course she listens to Ritsu. Nice. Ah. Oh, I love how they're just all supporting each other. For this seemingly small thing, but it's huge for them. Ah, nice. It's perfect. She read her face. She wants to stay with them. K-On! Season 3. I mean, I know there's manga that, K-On! College, but man, just left wide open that door to have another season after this. I can understand why they didn't though. Like, maybe too much of a perfect thing would be too much. I don't know. Oh, I love that they're all following Mugi. Still got to pass exams though. A little twirl dance that Mugi did. Ah, oh, she's so happy. It's like this a never-ending dream of hers. Oh, love that episode. I am looking forward to watching the live concert performance of this with all the VAs. I'm assuming they're going to be actually singing live. I think they all have great voices. I mean, I haven't heard Azusa sing, I don't think. Or Ritsu either. Migi's so cute. The 90s outfit. Nice. Okay, let's go. Episode 22. All right, let's go. Episode 22, entrance exam. Here we go. All right, let's do this in 3, 2, 1, play. Do you get a Valentine's Day? Nice. How could she only give it to one though? If she did, it would have to be Yui, but oh, but I don't know. In Japan, is it more of a thing where you kind of give it to everyone? I guess that happens here too, you know. Like, I guess people do give it not just to their partners or whatever, but friends and whatnot. I really want to listen to what Yui's VA's natural voice sounds like. Because even when she sings, I love that raspy airiness that she puts in there. I did watch a clip of Yui's VA voicing some other characters, but I don't think those are her natural voices either. Again, the absolute power of Japanese VAs. It's incredible. And that was Yui feeding Mugi a strawberry, yeah? And I love this part where they do this. You kind of just want to do it with them. Studying English. The Who. Ugh, Mugi has such a beautiful brain. Uh, that actually sounds like reasonable. Yes. Please speak more English. It's adorable. 1 to 9, that's a lot. And Azusa still worried about the chocolate. BGM. They're gonna join her, aren't they? Oh, Azusa. Oh, she looks like a lost little bird. There's you feel that line of separation between them again because they all have to focus on this exam. Oh, nice. It's all three of them practicing in the back. I'm sure we would get some too. Yeah. The entire class is shipping Azusa with the rest of her senpais. That's so cute. Like as a whole. So early. Look at their noses. Zombie Yui. One brain cell overload. Oh, is Ui praying at like a some kind of study shrine or something? Jin's so good. Oh no. It's gonna come out looking really weird. Actually, I don't think you're meant to use brown sugar for chocolate. Oh, thank God Ui's here. Have they met Ui? I'm really enjoying the vibes of this trio. She's gonna have to come up with some big fat lies. She's such a bad liar. But Yui won't notice. Oh, they're already done with the exam. Okay, so we don't really get to see that. Oh no. Sloppy bookkeeping. Was there like a split second there where Azusa was like, oh, I don't really want them to graduate? But of course she does. Uh, no, they wouldn't respond like that. They'd pounce on her, give her a huge hug. What's Mugi doing with the leaves? I love how they both know her senpai so well. Oh no. Urusai. They would definitely love Azusa's the most, though, of course, because she's their baby. The dilemma is real. That's right. Jun does have a bit of an obsession with meal. Sawako is such a good teacher. Oh, Azusa. I love how she's hugging her chocolates. Sawako just living vicariously through this awkward interaction. Oh, it's that tree in the background. In the first episode, that's full of spring blossoms, you know, new beginnings, and now it's dead. I hate this. I'm glad she has Jun and Ui though. This is a sad music theme. Wait, did Azusa give them her chocolate? No, not yet. Oh, that feet shot. Yes, why, Huey? Oh, and in a special cat mug. And now the rest of them are just having it in the normal teacups. Come on. Oh, that looks amazing. Ritsu's trying to stir stuff. That's for Sawako? Yeah. Oh my god. Uh, what? I want to see outside the window too. Okay, I'm glad this is actual laughing. Another group hug. That was nice. Are you meant to use notes with that? Okay, there's happy music. Oh my god, I got kind of emotional when she was praying so hard for their success. Okay, we all know how this ends. Ritsu just so mean. Oh, that's such a great shot. Oh, they're getting the results. Yeah, prayers answered. Uh, I didn't even say anything, just had the emojis, but somehow Azusa got the message. Oh man, you know what? Those were a couple of fluffy episodes, but at the end of that last one, when Azusa was just pouring her heart and soul into that prayer and really, really wanting a senpai to do well, it got me really emotional, especially all of that lead up to it when she says it's nice that they're just all like that together, just doing something as normal as looking out the window. And then, of course, she prayed that every second they have left together will be spent smiling and laughing. It just went like shunk right in the heart. It was great. I've always loved that graffiti spray, the X. It's so cool. Mia's very badass when she wants to be. All right, favorite moments from those two episodes. Episode 21 with the yearbook drama. First off, I have to talk about that weird Mugi Mio Ritsu moment when Mugi is telling Ritsu how soft her hair is and how she loves touching it, and Ritsu is getting all embarrassed. Mio is sitting to the side, but we can't actually see her face while all of that is going on, so I have no idea how she's reacting to this very wholesome, very sweet Mugi Ritsu moment. But then afterwards, when Mugi is trying to get Ritsu's hairband positioning right, Mio steps forward and in this really interesting tone, like flat, it's almost like she's, I don't know, like, no, it goes here. Just the way it was delivered was so, I don't know the word, interesting, weird, almost like she got a little bit jealous there and had to assert her dominance or something. I'm probably reading way too much into it, but I just thought it was a very interesting choice. Aside from that, the moment where I was so nervous for Azusa when she realizes that all of the other seniors and the other clubs have already stepped down, which is usual for them to do right after the school festival. And, you know, we've talked about Azusa already starting to process the fact that she will be left behind, but her just immediately running down the hallway and then up those stairs, panicking that they've left, it goes to show that no amount of preparation and emotional readiness will really ever make you ready for that moment. And same goes for us watching the show, knowing exactly when the end will come. Like, I think episode 24 is it, right? I know there are 3 OVAs after that, but I don't remember exactly the timing of those. So I think the official end is episode 24, which is the next reaction. But anyway, regardless of where the end is, knowing when it is won't really help with the pain. Another great moment in that episode was when Ritsu picked up on the fact that Mio hadn't handed in her admissions form to take that exam for the other college. And it turns out that Mio just wants to join the other 3 at Mugi's women's college, which is so awesome. And I think it's such a comfort that even though, you know, after the show ends, we know that canonically they will still all be together. Then we have episode 22, another very Azusa heavy one, which I appreciate because the crux of the episode is how much Azusa struggles with openly expressing her deep love for her senpais through things like, you know, making the chocolate cake, but having to keep it all secret, and then suddenly needing to go to the restroom with the cake still cradled in her arms. It was adorable. I feel so much for Azusa, and I love how the four older girls really look after her in that they know how hard it is for Azusa, and they make sure to shower her with all of their affection at every chance that they get. The saddest scene, of course, was Azusa standing in front of that dead, well, not dead, just like flowerless cherry blossom tree. And immediately when I saw it, it did a number on my heart because we talked way back in, I think it was season one or sorry, episode 1 or 2 of the season, about the symbolism of the cherry blossom tree, how it's so beautiful and so full of color, but only for a very short amount of time. I think it's just like 1 or 2 weeks, and then the blossoms start falling. And so, as I started standing there in front of that tree that's lost all its beauty, was so poignant in pointing out how she feels about the other girl's graduation, like, really. And sadly, you know, in the cycle of life, and then there's death, and then there's rebirth. And so there has to be the death of this HTT club before the new one next year, which will include, you know, Jun and Ui, before that one will come into existence. So when Azusa prays at the shrine, for, you know, hoping that the time they have left will be filled with laughter and happiness, it hits you so hard that it's time. But I do appreciate that even in that scene in front of the cherry blossom tree, Ui and Jun are right there, the same way that they've been there for Azusa for a lot of the moments that she's been really down thinking about the graduation. And yeah, so just a lot of great moments in these 2 episodes. Thank you guys for just being the best bunch of people to watch this show with. And I look forward to chatting with you all about what you liked and what you noticed, what it meant to you. So yeah, until the next reaction, please have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk soon.